Earth debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Click OK, Derek, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello.
Didn't normally get a hello, Nathan, but very nice, yes. Hello, hello. Whoever that was.
That was me. That was Derek.
Very good. We've got a couple of new panel members who've been eking their way in since John's departure, which is all nice. Nevertheless, I'm sure you're all familiar with housekeeping questions, so we're going to do a couple. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
There is no evidence whatsoever.
No way to measure that distance.
Or any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Isn't the deepest we've ever drilled supposedly 8 miles? No way to tell.
Well, that was easy. So we've got no video to cover today, as far as I'm aware, unless things have changed in the last 45 minutes. Did anybody have a video that they wanted us to cover today? No? Well, then we'll be talking to the audience and chatting amongst ourselves then, I guess. Shout out to Christian in the chat and Divergent Droid. Hope you're doing well. A fantastic moderation team in and of himself. Jim, good to see you. Please share the show.
Did you ever get a hold of...
Go ahead.
Sorry. Did you ever get a hold of that podcast, the Johnny Knoxville podcast that was mentioned yesterday?
The podcast where I was shouted out again by Eddie Bravo.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to it in full. I got a chance to listen to one little section of a clip from it, and he's essentially saying that it sounds like he's responding to the Dave versus Whitsitt shenanigans and saying he'd have been better off debating Nathan because he'd have demolished him, which is the same sentiment he put out last time he spoke about me.
Let's see.
I'll dig it out. I do have the clip somewhere. Somebody trimmed it and yeah, so I've definitely got it. You're off mute still, just Bill. Yeah, I'll dig that out and I'll play it if I can find it. It seems like it's buried very deep in Master B, but we'll see if we can dig it out. I've been talking about this in the pre-show, so over the next, I don't know, I'm gonna put a time limit on it. Behind the scenes, there's some rumblings, some aggressive rumblings that I don't know how long the lid on the aggressive rumblings will last, so to speak. So Neil and I have put a kind of, Neil thinks it'll happen before the end of the day by the sound of things, but Brian and Adam are yet to join the show, obviously, and if they do, you might be in for some fireworks on the live stream with Adam going shush a lot. We'll see. But it's one of those, it's me looking in from the outside now, as a result of kind of Dave Weiss, actually. So maybe I should just talk about that. In the last few years, we have been slowly divorcing ourselves from what we thought was the Flat Earth community. And it wasn't. It was the True Earth community that has sod all to do with Flat Earth. That's why we've been whinging about them so much, and potentially why they've been our enemies in the first place. Because they don't stand with us as Flat Earthers, they're not. So it's kind of double-edged in the respect that, oh, right, so we hadn't actually divorced ourselves from the group that is known as Flat Earth by stereotype that we've kind of demeaned because of their adherence to the Feast of Nonsense garbage that is out in the mainstream when talking about Flat Earth, rather than talking about Flat Earth, which is what we do. But when you find out that the people who have opposed us seemingly on our own side were never actually on our own side and aren't actually Flat Earthers, you go, well, in realising that, you go, well, actually, that means the burden of responsibility does suddenly sit on our shoulders, rather than us being divorced from that community that we called Flat Earth, that we'd separated ourselves from and been shunned from. But it never was that group. It never actually was Flat Earth that we were being shunned from. You know what I mean? For wanting to talk about Flat Earth, we were getting shunned from a group that wasn't actually Flat Earth. They were just taking the good name of what people were searching for on the internet because Flat Earth interests them and selling them something else.
Like an app, maybe?
No, like going to get a Mercedes and they give you a Dodge Dart.
Yes.
So what's the qualitative difference between this Flat Earth and True Earth?
What's the qualitative difference between this Flat Earth insurance is what I just heard.
No,
Flat Earth and True Earth.
True Earth, Flat Earth and True Earth.
They're different words.
Well, ironically, true earthers don't seem to talk about truth. They usually don't have any evidence to back their claims.
Yeah, but I don't care. I mean, this is kind of what I was trying to get across in the pre-show, but I can't seem to figure the words to put across what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter anymore. It's like saying ghost hunters don't care about the nature of direction. You're like, no, they don't, do they? But who cares? It doesn't really have any bearing on us anymore. They're not really anything to do with us. It's outside of our category. That's the point. You're like, well, what do true earthers believe? Well, who cares? I don't care. I'm a flat earther. Do I give a toss what they think? Now, in terms of
Yes.
if they come here proactively, they are proactive, me reactive, and put their thoughts on what the nature of Earth is, on what is a nature of Earth debate. So, in Flat Earth debate, often we get Ethereans coming and putting their views, and we'll take them at face value and then pick them apart like we would any other nature of Earth claim. But beyond that, I don't care. I care as much about what a true earther thinks as I do a concave earther, or a globe earther for that matter. I don't care. It's a kind of inconsequential. Now, globe earther gets the edge because more often than not, that is the predominant worldview. So you're going to get it put to you at nauseam, whether you like it or care about it or not. Know what I mean? But I don't have to care about True Earth, Ethereans. I don't have to care about them. Like, I don't have to care about concavers. Nobody's saying what are concavers thinking. And they are, like, if you want to say so, True Earthers, loosely associated to the subject. But I see only that loose association as a hijacking of people's interest in something so they can sell them something else. What they actually sell them, I don't care. It's not what I sell. I'll focus on what I sell. I sell Flat Earth. That's it. It's Flat Earth here.
Yeah, but we're still lumped in with them until they're totally separated from us. People still see them as part of us, Flat Earth. So unless they change their name to True Earthers, we're just going to be stuck in here with them.
Well, they have, when push comes to shove, like with David Weiss. Well, I'd call myself a True Earther. Well, why are you calling yourself a Flat Earther then? Well, because people are searching for Flat Earth is the honest answer that they'll never actually say. Well, from this point forth, we can call the interviewer on it when they start interviewing a stooge. It's like, have you picked Dave because he's an easy target because he's not actually a Flat Earther? Because he's admitted that. He's actually here to punt something out. When push comes to shove, go and check out Jesse's show. We'll play it to you in little short clips, if you like, of Dave decrying this community and in favour of a different community that isn't getting the clicks and views and searches that Flat Earth is, so he's just used that name. Now that's really obvious, painfully obvious to somebody who thought he was worthy of a follow for Flat Earth information, because when it came to being just simply asked if he understood and knew that Earth was flat, he couldn't answer. Couldn't give an answer. Postulated that Earth could be a ball. So at that point, you're like, right, he's definitely not representing me anymore. You know, I don't have to concern myself with saying, do a better job, Flat Earth Dave. It's like, he's not Flat Earth Dave. No person with Flat Earth in their name can say it could be a big ball. No, it couldn't. It's flat. That's how it's measured. Now, I, as a Flat Earther, would tell my audience that because that's how the world is in terms of how we deal with it. And I'm going to base my declarations based on how we've dealt with Earth, measured Earth, navigate Earth, mapped Earth, built on Earth. Those are the things I'll base it on. Not spend 20 attempts of dodging a question of if I know it's flat or not. I do. Do I have something else that I need to peddle? No, I don't. I don't have any ether to peddle, I'm afraid. But they do, so they want to hijack what little scraps of remnants of searches that we get as Flat Earthers to peddle something that isn't even Flat Earth by their own admission now. So there's no ambiguity anymore. Don't need him to be a better ambassador. He's not our ambassador. And if you're concerned that I'm saying Flat Earth Dave's not a Flat Earther, he's telling you that. He's told you it could be a big ball. All right, isn't that where you were trying to get away from? Isn't that his old shtick? It's not a ball. Yeah, these double-speaking pretender clown frauds will deceive you. Dave's one of them. He's no longer our ambassador if he says it could be a ball. It's just that simple. Ball isn't flat. So yeah, so I made that decision last night after listening to what potentially might boil over on today's live show, depending on who joins. My consideration for whether or not people will get it in the neck from here on forward if they do start interviewing Dave as a Flat Earther, simply because he's got it in his name. When he's not. A couple of people came in yesterday who were a little bit defensive about Dave. Like, oh, maybe he's just this and maybe he's just that. And it's like, no, you take people at their word. He's saying he's not. That's it. Don't need anything else. I don't need to do anything other than take what he said at face value. Right, do you want to hear this clip?
Let's hear it.
See that myself.
Yeah, Nathan Oakley and versus Professor Dave is what I want to see. Nobody can beat Nathan Oakley. He demolishes everybody. The fact.
There you go. That's about as much as the clip they had to offer, but someone's just gone and picked the specific bit where he says the same sentiment as he said last time about me. Eddie Bravo, those. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for the shout out. I need to get his email address, actually. I need to contact him about something. This gives me an excuse to actually get in touch with him. So I will. I'll drop him a line.
Technically, though, Nathan, David Weiss came highly recommended.
Did he? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
That's what the guy said.
Yeah, Jesse Lee Peterson's like, he said something to the effect of like, well, you came highly recommended, but you can't even tell me the Earth is flat or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Correct.
Yeah, people need to start making better recommendations then, don't they?
He gets the most attention on YouTube, him and Jaron, and what's it?
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, we can only peddle what we actually peddle and watch them use our good name. That's all we can do. Point out when it's not Flat Earth that's being discussed, which in the case of Dave, it isn't anymore, by his own words. You know, he's the one that's excluded himself from this community by virtue of his interview with Jesse. So at this point, like I say, I don't need to care about him being a good ambassador anymore. I'll just moan at the interviewers. Why are you interviewing this man? He's not a flat earther. He's admitted that. He doesn't represent us. When he says he does, he's a fraud. He's here to punt something out. He's got ulterior motives. Jesse's exposed him. Here's the clip. What more do you want? Why are you still interviewing him? And just moan at them. Make better recommendations of actual flat earthers that could discuss the subject, that do actually talk about flat earth. "74 people watching. Please share the show. Smash that share button. Typically, I'd be sending you to someone else's video right about now and helping them in the algorithmic love. But if you're amongst the 75 people odd watching the live stream right now, please hit that share button." Where do you think this is going to go, Neil?
The problem is, Nathan, hold on. The problem is they're selling dreams and we're selling reality. People don't want reality. They want dreams. That's why they're getting all the attention. They got this dream of ether and free energy and this hippy-dippy stuff. We don't peddle that. We peddle reality, and Earth is measured flat. Case closed.
I think it's more the replacement value. They've got various different aspects of their rhetoric that replace current existing rhetoric in heliocentrism that we would turn around and shrug our shoulders and go, I don't know, because we don't. And people are like, well, that's not satisfactory. I need a new paradigm now. What else is around? And then they find the next guru. You're like, oh, well, having good discernment doesn't come with finding out that Earth is flat, does it? And I don't know if it's something you can teach either. Can you teach good discernment?
Can you teach not coping, I guess?
Not
No,
coping.
good discernment is a God-given gift. Everybody has it. Just got to tap into it.
So you reckon? What are you saying? You're saying that the shell shock of finding out that it's not the world you thought it was is enough to overwhelm people? Is that what you're suggesting, Derek?
I'm suggesting that they have to have an explanation, because pretty much what you were saying, that they have to have an explanation that replaces it to cope, to accept reality. And if they don't get it, they won't accept reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they need a replacement. I mean, I've seen it for the last 10 years. My reaction's different to everybody else's. Well, 90% of people's reaction to this, where they suddenly recoil because they don't know things that they thought they knew, and then go scratching around trying to find either. The worst of it is when they do it for the original liar. All right, NASA have lied to us about the sky vacuum. What is the sky, NASA? What are you doing? What are you doing? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Number one, they've lied to you. Now you turn your back and walk away. They'll just lie to you again. That's it. Number two, they appeal to other gurus. What's the sky then? Well, there's an incoherent dielectric accelerative background medium. Oh, really? How interesting. That satisfies that need. Or they get what we peddle, which isn't very desirable, is it? What's the sky? No idea. I mean, I can tell you roughly how high we go if I accept this information. Some of it's a bit questionable. Most of it, if not all of it's describing a flat Earth, though. Yeah? See how it's describing a flat Earth? No. What's the sky? Dunno. Just now we've measured the ground with respect to the lights in it, and it's all flat, parallel with the sky. Check it out. You can turn it into like a protractor view called the celestial sphere that turned into the globe eventually. Yeah, but what is it now? I don't know. But that's not very sexy. No, it isn't, is it? I think it's wonderful. How amazing. I might be the one to find out. But no, I don't know. I mean, you could lean on biblical renditions of what God created in Genesis. You can lean on all sorts of different things. The reality is, in terms of what I know, it's very little. And where I formerly had explanations, the need to bullshit about what they have said things are explained with isn't necessitated for me to replace. Does it mean that they knew and had to hide it? You can't divine their motivation. They're liars. They'll just lie to you again. So then you have to kind of divorce yourself from that way of thinking. Why would they lie? Do they know the truth? If I asked them, would they tell me? You don't know. That's the reality. That's all you can concern yourself with. Right here, right now, you don't know what the sky is. You've no idea why it's blue. You've no idea why the darkness comes. You don't know what the stars are. You have no idea, and neither do I. That's the reality. It's just not very sexy. Especially when you had a really fantastical, farcical, ludicrous idea that there was an area of volume you could travel through in a spaceship to other worlds where there'd be soil and resources, when every little bit of our previously documented history shows us travelling out towards the horizon and literally finding new worlds with resources. Flat. But there we go. Replacing that is obviously of paramount importance, not knowing why it's blue and blah, blah, blah. People need that for some reason. Me, I'm like, wow, we don't know. Wow, it's like being 5 years old again. But we don't know. You know, and there's lots of things like that we don't know. What's below us? Don't know. I know how far we dug. That's about it. Got covered in the housekeeping section. That's about it. So, it's pretty sad that our actual knowledge and knowing and understanding of how the world physically works and is really limited. And I say it with a smile. Some people, it terrifies them. Because it was all wrapped up in a nice little ball, wasn't it? We knew it all. There was nothing else to know. Just need to research and maybe adapt some of the explanations that we have. In reality, we don't know anything. We're so ignorant, it's untrue. But that's not sexy. I know what I can tell you. Incoherent electric acceleration. Now with a sexy voice on, that does sound pretty amazing, does it not?
They claim they can measure that, Nathan.
Ooh, that sounds sexy. Is it with a man-made experiment?
Millions of measurements.
Of man-made experiments?
Mickelson, Morley.
Ah, the MMA. If we just initialize it rather than saying Mickelson-Morley experiment, which it isn't, people won't pick up on the fact that we're talking about a load of pseudoscience. Thousands of pseudoscience measurements. Wow. Anyway, enough moaning about true Earth. It's just not flat Earth, and we can put a punctuation mark in the timeline now about that. We all thought we were divorcing ourselves from a feast of nonsense garbage known as flat Earth. So we said we weren't that. But we had to continue saying we were flat Earthers because we were. But we just weren't that flat Earth. Then we found out that that flat Earth isn't flat Earth, it's true Earth. Some questioned what true Earth was. Me, I didn't give a toss from that point forward. What's that? They're not us. So we are flat Earth because that's what we talk about. They aren't. That's why we were moaning at them, because they weren't doing a good job of representing flat Earth. They weren't flat Earth. No need to moan at them anymore. Just bugger off and go and see if you can generate interest in true Earth. It's just not this. It's not flat Earth. Now, if you want to talk about flat Earth, obviously everybody can talk about whatever the hell they like. And if you're going to talk about flat Earth, just talk about flat Earth. And if you don't, you'll get moaned at. Especially when you're not a flat earther, peddling the idea that you are to talk about something that isn't that. That's how it is now. Thanks, Dave.
Well, the thing is, hold on. The thing is, in 2015, when this thing really took off, everything was about flat Earth. We're still about flat Earth, and we become public enemy number one to everybody because we pull out a silver bullet, what everybody was waiting for, and we start shooting it, and we're public enemy number one. Something weird going on here.
That's how you know when you're on target.
88 people watching. Please share the show on Facebook and Twitter if you've not done so already. There's a good chance there's only 88 people watching, or 92 watching now. Perfect timing. Because people share the show. So thank you very much. If you've just joined us, because it suddenly jumped up to 92 people, a very warm welcome to you. Please share the show. You're probably only here because you saw a link posted to you by someone who shared it. We definitely don't get any YouTube algorithmic love. So in today's case, we're not sending links and inviting people to join by way of sending them some algorithmic love, but it'd be nice if you did it for me today. Very selfish. Please share the show. Reckon we'll get Brian or Adam joining during the live show? They normally join just after and then moan about what we didn't talk about on it.
I sent Brian a message. He still has not joined?
Fair enough. There's a QE live stream today. I could plug that, couldn't I? So Be Here or Be Sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. 7 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Central, I believe. Something around that time. Anyway, Be Here or Be Sphere. He's going to be covering Witsit, I think, with his debate with Dave, host of YouTube channel Professor Dave Explains. That's what he's covering tonight.
I've seen a bit of that one.
Say again, Monday.
I think I said. Sorry, I was just saying about that. We were saying like they talk about everything except for flat Earth, and Dave's describing how it could be a big globe. I did watch a little bit of the Witsit one with Professor Dave, and they got on. Professor Dave was challenged him with why everything goes down, and instead of getting into the gas pressure expanding into any available space and that argument, he starts talking about the magnetic bloody electrostatic Earth and all this, so they're not getting into the arguments and getting in there like we do. They're just talking about
One deck, they're true earthers. They're getting into the true earth argument.
We're the real flat earthers, aren't we? That's what we are, the real flat earthers.
Yeah, they're talking about true earth stuff. You see, in true earth, you have this incoherent dielectric acceleration, and that explains the down. So, and then relative density takes over from there. So you don't need gravity. This is our gravity.
Yeah, it doesn't need replacing when there's no naturally observed phenomena to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. Not everything does go down, does it, Professor Dave?
I don't like real Effie. I did think about it though. One deck in a sentence, it's fine, but in terms of a title, it's like, do you know, we were talking about a steak, a really good steak.
Yeah,
it's a bit like that, isn't it? You don't need to call it the real sirloin. It's a sirloin.
Yeah, we're flat earthers.
We're flat earthers, exactly.
The name says it for you.
Yeah, I mean, in years gone by, I've had people from the opposing side say he's not a real flat earther to me and various other people in this community. He's not a real flat earther. He's having us on. And like, okay, so you want to take it to detach it with one word, but that word not real. Okay. No, you don't. You don't have to appreciate what I say. You just have to listen to the arguments that we put forth. Yeah, which strictly speaking aren't arguments anymore. I mean, I'm phrasing it in years gone by. Now it's not the case that you need to listen to our arguments. We'll state the facts of the matter here. There is no argument. Earth's measured flat.
Exactly. What argument are you talking about? Because I thought celestial navigation was a process that proves Earth is flat.
I'm talking about in years gone by when people have accused me of not being a real flat earther. Well, he's not really a flat earther. You're like, what? So me saying I'm a flat earther. But now, it's actually very, very poignant when you think about it. Maybe they were right back in the day when I said, yeah, I didn't have my silver bullet. I knew Earth was flat. I'm pretty sure if I was asked if Earth was flat, I'd have just said yes. But nevertheless, you doubt your ability to educate with the silver bullet that's going to be concise when you're in a debate structure and you're going to get chanted through if you take more than 10 seconds and all that stuff. So, I was looking for a different type of standard to educate people on how Earth is flat. And I didn't necessarily have that standard. Notice my new phraseology so I don't trigger people. Back in the day. Didn't mean I didn't know the Earth was flat when people claimed I was pretending to be a flat earther. And even to this day, people will say two different contradicting things. They'll say, flat Earth's dying. They'll also say, you're only talking about flat Earth because you want to make money off it. You're like, which is it?
Now, the reason why they said you were not a real flat earther was because of that conversation you had with freaking Sleeping Warrior. That was the first thing somebody sent.
Well, it's the second time I've done it, accidentally hit my mouse. Whoops. There's a button on my mouse that I'm going to have to change the mapping of because it's when I press it, it detaches me from the Hangout.
They'll just say it's a globe proof.
Whoops, I just detached myself from the Hangout accidentally. Sorry about
that. Thing is as well, we are actually just talking about flat Earth and how it's measured, obviously more and more. And that's the point. I'm finding myself doing it when I'm talking to people. I won't even go to the lights in the sky, gravity, anything else. We're talking about Earth measurement or Earth curvature measurement, lack of, and celestial navigation, latitude. We're getting on the ground, and obviously, Nathan, you're doing that and full-heartedly, and we all are. But it's like I've noticed listening to you. I can probably go back. I don't know, say 6 months. One of the main phrases and thing you was going into was the black swan. 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. You was using that a hell of a lot. I've not heard you use that for a long time now.
I don't think I follow. I often point that out, don't I? I often use their maths. Do I not?
I don't know. I mean, I think you just more now. It's horizontal. It's measured flat, latitude, elevation angles to and from Polaris.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, that's intentional, isn't
I'm
it?
not.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get people to do as I do rather than do as I say in that regard. So, if you're trying to tell people why we're making positive claims for the globe when we've got our own positive claims we can make, and you can make them on the front foot first thing you do in your elevator pitch, first time you get the mic, well, then you don't need to be leaning on Black Swan. It'll come up. You'll end up needing it in debate. People will put things to you, and you need to know the arguments. And we need to have gone through that 10-year process of understanding all the intricacies of the globe argument so you can undo them. But now we can undo them and show them how Earth was measured flat to make them. It's a lot more powerful, but not if you do it reactively. You need to be proactively putting Earth as a flat measurement forward, and then letting your opponent put their globe claim, which you then tie to your original front foot forward claim. Because you can every time, if you know how to do it. Like I say, if you've just come to the show and gone, what? Earth's measured flat? Yeah, latitude. It's part of the mapping system. It's how we measure Earth. It was always measured that way, and those measurements have turned into a globe. Now you know that. You know Earth's flat. Does that mean you, if you just got here in the last 10 minutes and heard that sentence, could go out and debate people about the nature of Earth? Hell no. You'd be annihilated pretty quickly by somebody who's got a half-decent understanding of some affirming the consequent fallacy that you don't spot. You've got to be a flat Earth ninja and know fallacies inside out and back to front, globe Earth inside out, back to front, measurements of Earth inside out and back to front, people's psychology inside out and back to front. That's what you've got to do to actually debate this subject. It's a roller coaster.
Well, it's gotten to the point now, in order to prove the globe, the first step is to measure Earth is flat.
Yep. So let them start their claim. After you've told them Earth is measured flat in all instances. When they make their first claim, you go, shocking, isn't it? He proved my point for me. She proved my point for me when their claim started with this elevation from sea level. It's an elevation off a flat surface. Level. Sea level. Level. Not curving. You need those heights, you need those elevations to start this globe claim. Then you insert a radial value that was also measured flat with Polaris. So you need quite a few flat Earth measurements to move this globe claim forward. What do you know? Exactly as I stated as my opener.
Lasers shooting
Earth
up.
is measured flat.
Go on, Derek.
Lasers shooting up was one of my favorite recent ones.
That sounds familiar.
You need
Did someone put that
yeah,
to
you
us
need
on the debate?
that was during your 8-hour epic stream on Friday. Somebody was saying, what happens if we shoot a laser straight up? Does the laser drop off like a bullet? And well, in order to have up, we have to have the zenith, which is perpendicular to horizontal, which is the Earth's surface. So they proved flat Earth with one word, up.
I can't even remember that. Like I say, it was at the end of an 8-hour live stream. So, yeah, that absolutely stacks up. I just don't remember it happening. But yes.
That was the lumpy gas in a vacuum epic one.
Oh, okay. That was the same show.
Yeah, it was the politics on Friday, I think.
Okay. Yeah, they're always very fruitful. Have visits to the politics server, aren't they?
Those guys are not up to date with the flat up to date.
No. But, you know, that's to our advantage to a certain degree, obviously. If they don't know any of the arguments and just put the same old rhetoric that's 10 years old into the mix, then obviously nobody from this panel's ever going to have any issue overcoming any of that garbage. And pointing out, oh, Earth's measured flat after the fact.
About that guy that came, I forgot what show it was. It might have been the same show where you asked him, why do you feel you could tell us anything? And he said, because we're flat earthers.
Yeah.
So they think because we're flat earthers, they could say whatever they want to say. Well, I'm sorry, the tables have turned. You're a ball earther. We'll talk to you the way we want to talk to you because we know what we're talking about. You don't.
We're flat earthers and we know better. Flat earthers know better as a stereotype. I mean, obviously that excludes all the true earthers and their nonsense and Ethereum garbage. Flat earthers, we know better. That's why we're telling you Earth's measured flat and showing you where you use those measurements of Earth as a plane to progress your stupid fundamentalist religious zealot globe belief that uses flat Earth measurements.
I mean, you've got like, you've still got a Kumu virus telling me yesterday that, you can navigate with a theodolite and you don't necessarily need a flat baseline for your elevation angle. I mean, this is what he's still chanting about. This, you know what I mean? Just stuck. The psychological dilemma.
You mean they're stuck in the rut that they got stuck in at the point that they lost their argument a Kumu virus 2 years ago? It's just rinsing. They've been rinsing. You mean he's been rinsing and repeating for 2 years?
Hold on, Tenth Man is here.
Hey, Ten.
Hello, Tenth Man.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Tenth.
Hey, good morning, all. Got a few minutes here in between taking care of my wife, but was following what the show was doing with one earbud and need to contribute a little bit, if I may.
Yeah.
They lost it the minute they drew a tangent plane on a circle that's supposed to represent a sphere in all the celestial navigation drawings or any kind of drawing. The minute they have to use a tangent plane, they're telling you they're measuring the Earth flat. As you've said, the globe becomes surplus to requirement. So all of the other things follow that. Because if you research in celestial navigation why they use a tangent plane touching a sphere surface at one point, their answer is so ludicrous, but they fall into a trap. Their answer is simplicity, and this is the way it was done historically. And it's a lot easier. Well, the minute you put that tangent plane, that means the GP of the star that's not locally flat, because that's another thing they say. Well, to the observer, as he does a 360, the Earth is locally flat and the tangent plane serves a purpose. But if you investigate celestial navigation, you say, okay, what if the elevation angle to the star is 10 degrees above the horizon? That would leave an 80-degree co-altitude angle, which then multiplied by 60 nautical miles has a zenith distance on a shared baseline of that tangent plane of 4,800 nautical miles. Is 4,800 nautical miles a locally flat scenario for you?
No, it's enormous.
All game over. The tangent plane is their problem. When they first used it, they're saying we can't use the globe. We need this tangent plane. And when asked why, we'll say it's for locally flat. But then when you introduce a 10-degree or 15 or 20-degree elevation angle, it's no longer locally flat. It can be 4,800. It can be as much as 5,400 nautical miles. You want to double down and make it worse, Nathan? Here's what you do. You say, if you just do one elevation angle to one star, that's 4,800 nautical miles if you have a 10-degree elevation angle. But because it creates a circle of equal altitude, it's really 9,600 nautical miles that's all flat. There's no way to get out of it. Earth is measured, navigated, aviated, built upon, surveyed, flat. That's my contribution today. Gotta go.
Welcome back.
Getting some love from the chat.
Nice
Good job,
one,
you,
Tenth.
Crockett says, lots of love and prayer for you and your family, 10th. Thank you for the super chat, Crockett. Also, Mike808 says, so nice to hear 10th. It is.
Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you, guys. I'll try to jump on as much as I can. Bye-bye.
See you later. Short and sweet.
So my prophecy was correct.
You had a prophecy, Neil?
I said, when refracted curvature left, 10th man will be back.
Okay. He's got something to say, and he had it. He said that. He said that to us so many times, and over the years, it dripped into us in the pre-shows. But you were saying it only yesterday, Neil, that when 10th explained for the first time that you've got an area of equal elevation, he just described it with 10 degrees to your left and 10 degrees to your right. You've suddenly got massive flat area that all shares one baseline. How it functions, it's how it's measured, it's how it's mapped, it's how it's built on, it's how it's navigated. Earth's flat.
Yeah, as he was doing that, it just brought back so many memories. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, whoa! So him doing it again, I love 10th.
Shout out to Flat Earth Truth. It says, the Earth was flat before anyone confirmed it, but once it was measured, it was used to navigate. Returning home was proof of the flat out truth. Thank you very much for the super chat. And this is a blip on the radar that is flat. The globe. It's not particularly old, not even 10 generations. So, it could easily fall by the wayside just as quick as it has taken hold with a lot of effort to make it take hold. Like anything that isn't true, it can only last so long. You can't have nonsense last forever. Just so stories will cut it for a certain amount of time. Eventually people will figure it out. Now, we might be at the start of people figuring it out. We might be in the middle. We might be very near the end. And you just don't know where you are in terms of historic standard. And if the previous waves of Flat Earth have anything to show for what they've done, they just memory hole it all. Gets to a certain point, it's memory hold. That's what happened to the 90s and /2000s resurgence of Flat Earth. Where's it all gone? Where are all the old style forums and websites with this information on it as it was? Well, it's not there anymore. It's gone.
Just to put some context into what 10th was saying, 4,800 nautical miles is 5,520 miles of flatness.
It isn't just a straight line. There are areas of equal elevation. So you're talking about, a square footage amount that's vast in terms of that whole circle emanating from the ground position itself is all flat in all directions. You're measuring 10 degrees above the horizon for that star and then drawing a circle from the midpoint. That's the point below the star's zenith out. Well, that whole circle is all flat. But yes, the distance that he's just given you is one straight line that would be from, one star measured on your left and one star measured on your right. And then the vast distance that would be between the two radial values converging somewhere where you are. Well, that's vast areas of flatness. That's how it's dealt with, that's how it's measured, that's how it's mapped, that's how it's navigated. That's why all the maps are flat. They have to work with this system of angle measurements off a flat Earth. That's how it does work.
Do you remember in the beginning of the argument, flat Earth debate, they used to say celestial navigation proves that the Earth is a globe. It can only be done in a globe. You don't hear that anymore, do you?
Occasionally you see some idiot post it. Or you can only use a sextant on a globe. No. You fool. On the contrary, You can only get an angle measurement with respect to a horizontal plane of reference when you use that tool. You can't even look at a sextant if you're a glober. You think it only works on a sphere? Ugh. DALA says, thank you, 10th. You are missed, sir. Thank you for the super chat.
If anybody's paying attention, we change phrases. We change the way people speak.
Are you bigging yourself up there, Neil?
I mean, it's a fact. They don't say Michelson-Morley experiment anymore. Some knucklehead will do it every now and then. If you listen carefully, we change the way they phrase things.
Yeah, but we did because we used to care. We were attempting to influence people who we thought were our ambassadors. Well, they're not. Maybe this is going to take some time for you to sink in, Neil. Then they're inconsequential to us. Do you keep track of what the concave earthers do, Neil?
No, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about even globers. They just change the way they speak because of how we talk here, the things that are being discussed here.
Yeah, that is the objective of being a YouTuber. You know, that when it gets monetized and people call themselves influencers, that's the point, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that should tell people something. If we weren't speaking truth, if we weren't speaking reality, you won't have globers changing the way they speak. It used to be, what did it used to be before that? That the horizon was a geometric position, right?
Yeah, boats fell over the hill that is Earth curve. Not anymore. Shh, Black Swan. Doesn't look like it's going to kick off today, Neil. 10 minutes left on this live show, or a bit longer than 10 minutes, I should say.
I just sent Brian another message. I think he's stonewalling us.
Ubers never had Horizon to begin with. All they ever had was Earth curve.
Not only was it all they ever had, it was the only thing in the column that they could assert. So it was the only cause of things disappearing in the distance. You know, you've got a column that they say, look at all these silly things flat earthers claim. And then they list off all the things that they say flat earthers say and claim they're all stupid because in their list they've got Earth curve. And that's it.
That's Timmy Khan's greatest contribution when he came up with that list. So all you have is Earth curve, huh?
Yeah, he's got a list and he's got perspective and perspective and the offing and angular resolution limits, Rayleigh criterion. He's got the whole bunch of things that you could use to describe the effects of seeing things. And then in his column, he's got Earth curve. Like, okay, so when we see a boat in the near foreground with the bottom obstructed and someone like Kofail or whatever his name is, Kosho, comes along and says, well, that's down to optical resolution loss. You're like, well, yeah, well, welcome to flat Earth. You've only got one thing in your list, it's Earth curve. If it isn't Earth curve, you know, there's no claim for you to be making because it doesn't exist in your maths beyond simply Earth curve obstruction. That's all they've got to claim. They've hijacked all the effects of reality and just called them Earth curve. So that's the only thing in the list. Earth curve. So you debunk it. Then there's a claim of refraction, which relinquishes all geometric possibilities of ever measuring this point that's derived mathematically from a flat Earth. Hey, Eli. Hey, Eli.
Hello.
Hello. I thought we were going to get some fireworks on this show today, so I intentionally haven't pushed to get a video to cover.
Might happen in the after show.
It might. We'll see. Watch this space. Sorry to be vague. I hate leading people on, but there's things going on around me that I've got no real justification to pour, you know, what's the word? Fuel on the fire. But it is interesting to see what's going on. It is directly related to what we have talked on the show, though, about us essentially being the, you know, we've found ourselves at the forefront of flat Earth, where we've said we're on the cutting edge of flat Earth, but, you know, we were represented by generals and sergeants that didn't have our best views at heart. Hey, Refracted. Hello. No, he's obviously got mic issues. Hello. Might be tuning in from somewhere foreign to him.
Did you say Refracted? Did he get fired already?
Yeah. No. I had to come back for a court date.
You had to come back for a court date.
Yeah. My wife is having a custody battle over our oldest son, so I got called back by subpoena.
That's a previous marriage, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. Well, nice to see you. Quicker than we expected.
Welcome back, John.
Yeah, me too. Hey, thank you. I thought it'd be a little bit longer myself too.
Nathan perked right up. His little pet is back.
Oh, shut up, Neil. Like a little reunion show.
There you go.
On earlier.
Notre Dame's. I mean, Neil's prediction was wrong.
I predicted when you had to leave that Tent would be back, and I was correct. Tent was in here for a few minutes before. Were you listening, John?
Yeah, that's why I come back in. Is he gone already?
Yeah, he's already gone. Yeah, he came back in and talked about circles of equal elevation, areas of equal altitude, and gave it an example with 10 degrees above the horizon being the zenith distance, and quantified that into terms of how big and how flat Earth would have to be to do that. And then he went,
Yeah, and if you multiply that by 2 pi r, that would actually give you the actual area, not just the radial length.
yes, it would. Yes, absolutely. My high school maths failing me again. Well, absolutely fantastic to see you. Nice that we've got 100 people watching when we've had a bit of a reunion show. Maybe that's what I should call the show.
No, you should call it the return of the 10th man.
I actually feel like it's more of a return to us being flat earthers. Yeah, where we've, like I said that at the beginning of the show, and I'll say it again now, where we had previously thought we were divorcing ourselves from the community that was flat Earth. We weren't. We were being shunned from a community that just used the words flat Earth to entice people into a completely different community. There's no loss being ostracized from that community because it wasn't flat Earth ever. That's why we had so many complaints about it, right? So that's good. So it just feels like a bit of a turning point.
John, did you hear the show on first of all, you couldn't make the Ball Busters. You missed your debut. Your name came up in lights. But did you listen to the show? Did you hear what the shyster actually said?
No, I've been doing the most boring reading and testing for the past week and a half. It's driven me insane, Neil. I'm sorry, I haven't had much time to do anything else.
Nathan, tell him what he said, Nathan.
Sorry, what was that?
Tell him what he said, Nathan. The Earth could be flat or it could be a what?
I wasn't listening to the first part. My wife came in and distracted me, and now I'm giggling at her. Sorry, you'll have to take me through what just happened while I get my composure.
I asked Refracted if he heard the show. He missed his name in lights, but if he heard QE's show the other day, he said no. So I said to you, tell him what the shyster said.
He said Earth could be a ball, basically.
A very big ball.
What?
Yeah, no, I've subsequently labelled several shows like Dave's Exit from Flat Earth and such like, and pointed out that based on that, if people interview him as a flat earther, I'll be calling them out, but going, why are you interviewing this guy? He's self-declared not a flat earther. When Ashton pushed 20 times, if he knew Earth was flat, he couldn't answer, and eventually declared himself a true earther.
Made himself a moron. Why did you leave the cult of heliocentrism, Dave?
He wanted to be his own new guru, and there was an interest in flat Earth, so he leached off that, and we are where we are today.
So instead of being happy with the answers he's got, he doesn't know what anything means. He's a complete idiot now. Instead of just being happy with the answers he's had, living in ignorance, now he's an idiot. Good for you, Dave.
Well,
Hey,
John, I
John.
think the reason he didn't. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
Hey, John, do you know beyond the shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt that the Earth is flat?
Yes.
See how easy that was?
Yeah, Jesse Lee Peterson asked Dave that 20 times, and Dave ended up saying no.
What?
He can't quite believe his ears, can he?
Everyone knows.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happening. It's a bit of a turn of... As a consequence of that, right, I've been saying this the whole show, I've said, well, we formerly used to say, well, we're not really part of the quote-unquote flat Earth community. We literally would say, quote-unquote, flat Earth community, end quote. Because we would want to somehow separate it from what we would still obviously call ourselves flat Earthers. But we weren't separating ourselves from a flat Earth community that just displeased us in the information they put out. They weren't flat Earthers. It was a different community. They were just leeching off people's interest in flat Earth the whole time. So when we were moaning about them not being good ambassadors, they weren't ambassadors for flat Earth.
Yeah, but did you hear what John just said? John just said everybody knows Earth is flat. Even the ballers know it's flat. So what the hell is Dave's excuse?
Who cares?
Yeah.
He's not one of us
Yeah.
anymore, and I don't have to worry about it, do I? I'd have to worry about him being...
He says it could be a bigger ball.
Yeah, if he wants to
It's
believe...
not
said it
called
could be a
Flat
bigger
Earth
ball.
Dave for nothing.
They do, actually. They do call him Flat Earth Dave for nothing, because it could be a big ball Dave. Doesn't have the same ring to it.
No,
Listen to what
it can't be a
John
big
said.
ball either. It can't be a big ball either. It's measured flat. It can't be a big ball. You have to appeal to a stupidity at that point, or argue for ignorance to claim such a thing. We measure it flat. It is not a big ball.
He literally used an argument from ignorance to do that. We don't know that it isn't. He literally said that. He literally used an argument from ignorance, John. You identified it without even hearing it. We don't know that it
Maybe
isn't a
one day-
really big ball, so it could be. That's an argument from ignorance fallacy.
Yeah, and a special pleading fallacy, because we measure it flat, Dave. Why would you say that? Unless you don't know how you measure Earth.
How flat can a ball be? I don't know.
Hold on. That's John, you hit it on the head. He does not know. So he lacked the confidence, but in the beginning he did say it's measured flat. But now if push came to shove, he wouldn't know how to go about it.
He didn't say it's measured flat. He said it's measured flat. He said because it's measured flat, we see too far. That's what he actually said.
Right.
But that's not the same as saying Earth is measured flat. Saying Earth's measured
Correct.
flat, and as a consequence, we will see further than the ball says we should see. It doesn't have the same ring to it, and it's diluted so far that it makes no sense. It's convoluted to the point of having two arguments put forth as one. It's garbage at that point. Understanding.
So he doesn't know it.
Go ahead.
He's basically pre-globe. Like Globers people who believed in the celestial sphere. That's how they talk. You know, the flat earthers before the globers. That would be the way they spoke.
What he doesn't appreciate is that in order to say, well, it could be a very, very big ball that we just don't appreciate, it means he doesn't appreciate two things when he's made that statement. Number one, in order to infer that it's a ball of any description, requires that you appreciate how the ball comes to fruition. That is to say, the transposition from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the stars, to the celestial sphere, onto a globe with an equatorial plane inside it. Now, if you can understand how, you know, your projected points off the equatorial plane can be mapped through a hemispherical globe that you're standing inside, you can understand how that model conception, out-of-the-box thinking, has been applied to give your flat Earth measurements sphericity and orbital motion. That's where you get the idea that Earth could be a ball at all from. Now, for that to be a coherent idea in terms of its practical application within the model only, it must comport to the measurements we take on Earth, which are flat. So once you understand that in order to extrapolate out a ball from flat Earth measurements, you start with flat Earth measurements and then infer a ball in a model, that's what we've all reified, that's the globe model. That's why we think we're standing on a sphere. But once you point out that that's come from flat Earth measurements, you then haven't got a reason to say, well, it could be a ball of some description, because the only ball of any description was the one that came from the flat Earth measurements. So you wouldn't then say, well, because I know that the ball that we inferred we were standing on when we weren't came from measurements of a flat Earth, that also might infer that it could be an absolutely ginormous ball. No, that's completely non sequitur at that point. Doesn't infer that. It's incorrect. But there we go. Yeah. I don't care. He's not my ambassador anymore, and I'll be pointing that out till I'm blue in the face as we go forward. And moaning when people interview him like he's a flat earther just because he's put his name tag on that says Flat Earth Dave. That doesn't mean he's a flat earther. He's already admitted he isn't.
Right, well, he's more of the pre-globe flat earthers, where they could have the false dichotomy argument. Those people that believed it was flat arguing with people that believed it wasn't, and then a globe was birthed from that stupidity. That's where he's at.
Yeah, he wants the false dichotomy. I see what you're saying now. Yes. Yeah, he wants it in the false dichotomy position where I will assume a flat Earth measurement that turns into a sphere so I can claim Earth's a sphere. And here's your straw man argument of what you say is a flat Earth. For Dave, it's in his app.
Yeah, so for him, it's not a straw man. He believes that model. That's his.
Yep. Unfortunately, it assigns ownership when you monetize it. That means you've got your false dichotomy lined up for everyone who approaches him. But, like I say, doesn't mean anything to me anymore. He's not our ambassador. He's not a flat earther. He isn't capable of telling an interviewer that he knows Earth's flat. That's all we need to know. It does, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, put us in the position where, well, we are at the top of the tree then when it comes to putting out actual flat Earth information. If the people who claim to be flat earthers aren't, where does the buck stop? Well, the buck stops here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
King of the hill.
That's why I think we should send an email to this guy, or a comment at least, saying if you really want answers to your questions, you should ask in this channel. You come in and ask us these questions.
That's what I do every day. I do the call to action when I tell people to let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat. Bit of a mouthful. Liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, got gifted a membership, all those good things. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. from the chat. He says, bye all, have fun with your banana sextants, ballers. See you in the next video.